George Springer has been on another planet to start this season off for the Toronto Blue Jays, and everyone, including myself, was writing him off heading into the year. Now he has totally shifted that narrative. Just 12 games into the season, will it last? No, it's impossible. I mean, if this pace that he's started with lasts for an entire year, it would be the greatest single season in baseball history, and the game's been around for a very long time. So he's currently on a very, very hot streak, and the signs are encouraging. He looks like a rejuvenated player, like a different player, like someone that we won't want to throw out of the lineup come August. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and George Springer has been on another level this season. It's been really impressive to watch, quite frankly, and I'm happy. I'm happy to see him playing the way that he's playing, because we know the talent is immense, but the decline has been evident with him over the past couple of seasons. He's managed to stay healthy, which is a good thing, but it could also be viewed as a not too good of a thing, the way that he's been performing and in the lineup every day. So before we get into the video, though, before we take a deep dive on his stats and how he's been hitting the ball to start off this year, make sure to hit that subscribe button. 97% of you who are watching are not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world to me if you could help get me to that 3,000 mark, which we are chasing right now. But these are the stats that I'm talking about, and George Springer continues to look like a new man early on in 2025. He blasted his second home run in game number 12. He only had 3 home runs over the first 2 months of last season. Still ended up with over 20 or 20 on the nose. I'm not exactly sure, but slow starts. Slow starts for George Springer in back-to-back seasons. So, considering all the noise coming into the year about how Alan Roden was going to take his job by July, I think it's a very encouraging sign to see George Springer have a MLB best 457 batting average with a 258 weighted runs created plus. And just to put into perspective, league average is 100 for WRC plus. So he's tearing the cover off the ball right now, and it's not necessarily all extra base hits, but he's driving in runs, he's coming up in big spots, and he does look like a rejuvenated player. Now, 2 things can be true. The first thing being that this is not going to last, that we're not going to see him hit 457 for an entire season. It's not going to happen, okay? So I'm sure you're all educated fans, you all know this. But the second thing is how important it is for him to get off to a good start. I mean, he's a confident player. He knows about his track record. He knows that he has a place in this game today, even with his declining skill set. He knows that. And he knows what it takes to be a successful big leaguer, because he's been one for a very long time. But considering the struggles that he's had in the past 2 seasons specifically, I think it's extremely important that he gets off to this great start. And just kind of use the analogy in basketball. See a couple go through the hoop and get back your confidence, right? Like, let's say your shot isn't falling. It's good to get a layup every now and then, and to just know that you can do it. And George Springer knows that he can do it. Maybe his body can't keep up with that demand anymore, but as of now, the early returns, 12 games into the season, it's been great, and I like the way that the Blue Jays have been managing the workload for Springer. He's already had a couple of days off. He's had some DH days. He's not leading off anymore. Bo Bichette has been great in the leadoff spot thus far for the Blue Jays, just tearing the cover off the ball. The results may not be there as of yet for Bo Bichette. I mean, his batting average is great, but the OPS, the extra base hits, not quite where he wants them to be by season's end. But he's great in that leadoff spot, and he is hitting the ball so hard. So now you allow George Springer to move down in the order. He was hitting cleanup tonight, but for the majority of the season thus far, he's been 5, 6, every now and then he's been in the 4 spot. But I like him where he's at right now, lower in the lineup, not expected to do as much as he was in years past, and I think that's a burden off his shoulders. He's been a leadoff hitter his entire career. He's definitely comfortable in that spot, but he he just doesn't. He's not that kind of player anymore. Where you could tell him, okay, you're going to get 650 at bats here. We want you to have a 400 on base and be able to be the spark plug for this offense. I don't think he's that kind of player anymore. So moving him down in the order, allowing him to chase a little bit more power. Don't worry about the strikeouts. You're in an RBI spot. You're going to come up with guys on base. I think that's really suited George well 12 games into the season, and I want to see the Blue Jays continue to roll with that. Right now they're 7-5. They're first place in the AL East. Take that as you may. 12 games into the season, but they've struggled offensively at times, and when they have struggled, George Springer was there to take them out of that hole and come up big in some massive spots for them. So I've been very impressed with what I've seen out of him. Uh, Very happy about the early returns on the 2025 season for George Springer. Now, I want to see him keep it up. I want to see him ride out this hot streak for as long as he can. There's going to be some ups and downs, just like there are with all the great players. Aaron Judge has struggles throughout the season. Shohei Ohtani as well struggles at times. So you're never going to have a perfect game 1 to 162 stretch. But getting off to a start like this, it allows your numbers to look a lot more respectable at the end of the season. If you were to let's say start with a 0 for 30 or something astronomical like that. So George is in a good spot right now, hitting the ball hard, looks a couple of years younger, and I think the way that the Blue Jays are deploying him right now, using him in right field, using him in center field, Miles Straw has been great. I mean, the fact that he's hitting, you can keep George in right field, and I think that's a bonus. But giving him his days off, giving him those DH days, it's ultimately going to help him stay fresh, and it's going to help him stay productive, I think, throughout the entire season. Is he back fully to his prime days? No, I don't think he ever will be. But we've seen George have hot streaks, even in the last 2 seasons, where he has struggled at times. He's had those hot streaks, but we've never seen him have those hot streaks at the start of a season. Now we are seeing that 12 games into the year. And this was his night in Boston yesterday. 2 for 4, a home run, a walk. He's been unstoppable. He has been unstoppable. And as you can see, the numbers, he's a great player. I don't know if he's a Hall of Fame level player. I wouldn't go that far. But he was great in his first couple of years in Toronto, and then the struggles started to creep in. So a 1.18 OPS, it's not sustainable, but I've really liked what I've seen out of him thus far. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you convinced that George Springer can be a productive player until the end of the year? And if not, give me a reason why in the comment section down below. I'll see you all tomorrow.